Well, hello everybody, and I'm back. For those of you who are new to the show, this is the Nerdy Economist Show, the best movie show on the internet, and, wrestling show occasionally. But, I've been gone for a little bit, but I've been fortunate enough to get my own radio show on vocnation.com. Click there, Tuesdays, 7 Eastern Time to 8:30 Eastern Time. So, wherever you are, wherever you're listening to this at, you do the math. But VOC Nation, awesome live show. We can, you can call in, ask questions, and heck, you can probably stay on the show. I may, be like, hey, man, call you back after show and be like, hey, you want to be a guest host next week? Because that's definitely what happened this past week. But, that's for all you wrestling fans. We will talk Captain America 2 on this next episode of VOC Nation. But today, I just want to talk about Captain America 2, without a restricted amount of time, without a, segment time limit, without having to go to commercial break. So my embargo's been lifted. I didn't want to break any rules. I didn't want to talk about Captain America 2 before it, came out and, everybody else got to see it. But, I've been fortunate enough to see it 3-4 times already. And this movie is pretty awesome. I put it up there with the best as one of the best superhero movies I've ever seen. I definitely put it up there with the Avengers, The Dark Knight, and Captain America 2. I think those can go 1A, B, and C. They all have their weak and strong points. But, let's focus a little on Captain America 2 right now. And then in about, a couple minutes, I'm going to run down Marvel's top 5 most important movies that they've made. So, before we get into that, let's talk a little Captain America 2, a little brief overview. Spoilers, there will be spoilers, so listen to this after you see the movie, or, if you don't care, you can listen to it anyways, but there will be spoilers. I don't get any, I don't get any more angry tweets from people like, you spoiled the movie. So, anyways, movie, awesome. Tone, it had the tone of The Dark Knight from beginning to end. Not saying that it copied The Dark Knight, just, it had that dark, tone. Like, the music never stopped, and it was awesome. I will say this, the only thing I found a little weak was Bucky, the Winter Soldier. Spoiler alert right there, if for all the people that read the comic books, you know who the Winter Soldier is. But a lot of people in the movie, when I saw the first time I saw it a couple weeks ago, everybody knew who it was. And then I saw it with the general public, and, half the people were like, oh, Bucky, that can't be Bucky, he's dead. So, Winter Soldier is Bucky, deal with it, get over it, But I think he was a weak villain. Especially compared to, when you want to list it as one of the better comic book movies ever made, especially with The Dark Knight, it had the best villain. I'm going to go flat out and say the Joker's the best movie villain of all time, from The Dark Knight. I mean, just best movie villain, and, you compare it with The Dark Knight, and even Loki and the Avengers, this falls short. But, it wasn't just the Winter Soldier wasn't just the only bad guy. Hydra, the organization, they're the bad guy. Bucky's just a part of it, but nonetheless, he's, the movie's named after him, so he's the main bad guy. Or I would put a main bad guy. I'd put Robert Redford's character, the Secretary of Defense, Alexander Pierce, as the main bad guy. But Bucky, big part, but fell short. And honestly, that's the only problem I found with the movie. It lacked the bad guy. And there's no knock on Bucky or Alexander Pierce, because they were kind of good. It wasn't like they were awful. They were pretty good bad guys. But compared to, Loki and the Avengers and Joker and the Dark Knight, yeah, they fell short of those, but they're hard to touch to begin with. But that's the only pitfall of the movie. I really don't want to get real into it. All I will say is my favorite part. I flipped out. I flipped out every time I've seen it. Was when they name dropped Stephen Strange. And for those of you who don't know who Stephen Strange is, it's Doctor Strange, and there's going to be a Doctor Strange movie coming out. So I was very excited to hear Stephen Strange. And also, I didn't catch this till last night, but at the end, if you go back and see it multiple times, or you listened to this before, you see it. Here's a little Easter egg. Look at Nick Fury's headstone. And his quote under his name on his headstone is, "The path of a righteous man." And, if you don't know where that's from, it's from Pulp Fiction. He said it a whole bunch of times in Pulp Fiction. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And the fight scenes are really good. Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson, woo-wee, she can fight. But that's about all. I'll get into it right now. Maybe I'll post a big spoiler, review thing later. But I want to get in, after seeing Captain America 2, thinking, what's been the most important movies in Marvel? How did we get up to this point? To Captain America 2, going into, Guardians of the Galaxy in August, and then into Avengers next May, or April, whenever it comes out. So I've compiled a list of Marvel's 5 biggest movies up to this point. And, not up to this, but it's Marvel's 5 biggest movies. So instead of starting backwards, I'm going to start with the biggest movie, and I'm going to go down to, the 5th biggest movie. And for me, the biggest movie Marvel has made was Iron Man. I mean, that's without question. I don't think very many people will argue that. But Iron Man is by far the most important movie Marvel has made, because if Iron Man would have just failed, dropped an egg, I don't think we'd be sitting here where we are now, because the movie that followed Iron Man was Hulk, and Hulk wasn't that good. So, you have dropping 2 eggs at once. And then on top of that, Iron Man 2 is probably the weakest movie in all of them. Probably tie, even worse than Hulk. And these, they weren't bad movies. They're just, weakest in the whole universe. So, Iron Man sucks. Then, you had Hulk that wasn't good. Then you had Iron Man 2 that sucked before you got into Thor and Captain America and, of course, the Avengers. But I don't think we would have gotten to. I just don't know if we'd be sitting here right now if Iron Man would have just failed. But, luckily and thank goodness, Iron Man did awesome and everybody loved it. And we all bared Thor and Iron Man 2 and got to Thor and Captain America and the Avengers. So, thank you, Iron Man. You're the biggest movie in Marvel history so far. Well, I think no matter what, you're going to be the biggest. Okay, number 2, the second biggest, most important movie Marvel is The Avengers. Definitely The Avengers, it signaled to, made over $1 billion worldwide. And it showed that, hey, because my biggest fear was, you're taking all these big, main characters and putting them to a movie, and, what about the screen time? Who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? Who's going to be, who's going to save the day? And then, I was kind of, I wasn't sold on Loki yet either. But the Avengers pulled it off. They showed that you could put all these important characters. Now, a lot of people will say, well, it doesn't matter. Movies have, all these characters anyway. Every movie has like 20, 30 characters anyways. Well, yeah, they do, but these are main characters. These are big characters. These are people who have their, who are big enough characters and personalities to get their own movies. So putting them in and them clashing and everybody just eating it up and loving it, that's definitely, there's a reason why Marvel has movies planned up to 2028 right now. And I think a large part of that is due to the Avengers. I think if that would have failed, then, bye-bye Avengers. We're just going to keep solo movies. But it showed that you could have a shared universe, which not only, did they do, but it's spawning off the Marvel Universe and, Spider-Man's world with Sony, and Fox and Fantastic's world with uh, X-Men and Fantastic Four world and Fox, and even the Justice League world. Avengers would have failed. Where would we have been? Would we be getting all this stuff that we're getting now? So that's number two. So those first two, I don't think they're interchangeable. And, a lot of people probably say the Avengers is bigger, but without Iron Man, we would have no Avengers. So, without Iron Man movie being a success, I don't think we would have had Avengers, because that would have been 3 goose eggs with Iron Man, Hulk, and Iron Man 2. So, number 3. So, we got Iron Man the most important, Avengers second most important, and I think the third most important, in my eyes, is Thor. Because now you're breaking barriers. Now you're going into another, you're going into another universe, another world. Now you're going into deities and stuff with Thor. And, cosmic beings and stuff with Thor. And that's a really big step from, Iron Man's, explainable. Rich guy, has billions of dollars, so, he builds an Iron Man suit. I buy it. Hulk, science experiment gone wrong. I guess I could buy that. But Thor, I believe in God. And, Thor's a god. So, it's believable to me too, but a lot of people, there's people out there that don't believe in, a higher authority. So Thor, kind of a big step. It definitely opened the door for more cosmic movies like Guardians of the Galaxy. But, Thor was a big success. And now we've introduced a cosmic element to this universe, which is big because Thanos is coming eventually. Thanos is a cosmic being. So, Thor is the third most important movie. The fourth most important movie coming up. Now, these next two haven't come out yet, but the fourth most important movie, in my eyes, will be Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, this is Marvel's biggest dice, this is their biggest risk, and this is their biggest roll of the dice since the first Iron Man. And if this works out, then I wouldn't put it past them. I wouldn't be surprised to see somebody from Guardians make an appearance in Avengers 2. And they'll continue the universe if it's, working that well. It'd be nice to see how they reference, Iron Man and Avengers and, all of them. That'd be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to that. But also, because the main villain in this movie is Thanos. He's the puppet master. So if this falls flat, this may signal to Marvel that, hey, Thanos is falling flat here. Because a lot of people don't know Thanos, and I feel this will be his introduction to, this will be Thanos' introduction into the Marvel world, formally. So, I think this is big because they have Thanos pulling the strings so far. And the cutscene of Captain America, Loki's staff somehow ended up to, Baron von Strucker. And I would assume Thanos gave it to him, or, the puppet master, or whatever, the collector gave it to him, because that was at the cutscene of Thor 2. So, I think Guardians of the Galaxy is kind of, more important than a lot of people think. Especially since it's a bunch of people that a lot of hardcore comic book fans don't even know. So, Guardians does good, and maybe we'll get, some more Guardians. Maybe we'll get some more Thanos. Maybe we'll get some more lesser known characters. Who knows? And the fifth most important movie that's coming up, as I said earlier about Stephen Strange, is Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is, magical. Are you really gonna bring the magic part into the universe now? Because it's been grounded so far. So there hasn't been any magic until the cutscene of Captain America 2 with Scarlet Witch over there. But, there really hasn't been any magic so far in the Marvel Universe. So, how we respond to it, I think we'll respond great, like we've been. And, I think it won't be until Avengers 3 or 4 until we start getting burned out. Because, eventually, law of diminishing returns say the more you consume one product, the less your utility, in economic terms, utility is your happiness. You know, the more we're going to see of, Marvel movies, the less, we're going to, the less enjoyment we're going to get eventually. But that could be, 20, 30 years down the line. But I think, we're safe until Avengers 4 before some people start leaving the wagon that are on it right now. But I still think they'll go strong until 2028. And I don't know what they have planned after that. I don't know what they have planned for the Avengers overall, because certainly you're not going to keep Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth, most certainly not Robert Downey Jr. or Mark Ruffalo till 2028. So, it'd be interesting to see how they reboot it and, throw more different people in these roles and whatnot. But, I'll run through these one more time. The fifth most important movie in Marvel Cinematic Universe will be Doctor Strange. The fourth is Guardians of the Galaxy. The third is Thor, the first one. Second most important movie, Avengers. And the most important movie is Iron Man. Without Iron Man, we may not be talking about Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers, or Doctor Strange. So, guys, I just want to say thank you very much for listening today and, supporting us. Check me out Tuesday nights. I will post on the Nerdy Economist around 6:30. To remind everybody that I go live at 7 p.m. Eastern on VOCNation.com. And certainly you can tweet at me at the Nerdy Econ, interact with me. And keep visiting the nerdyeconomist.com. And thank you guys for your support. As always, stay nerdy and bye bye.